Stop. Yes, right now. Take a slow, deep breath. Now, open your hand and look closely at your palm. Do you see a curved line, shaped like a crescent moon? Or perhaps the letter M, formed where the lines of life, head and heart converge? Most people overlook these signs. They call them coincidence. But what if they're not? What if these markings are whispers, messages etched into your being, waiting for your conscious mind to finally awaken? What if they're not random, but evidence, proof that you were placed on this earth for a purpose you are only now beginning to remember? You've always sensed it, haven't you? That you are different, too aware, too sensitive, too deep. But that wasn't weakness. It was destiny. It was a spiritual imprint written into your energy before your first breath, and that tug in your chest, that unshakable sense that you're meant for something far beyond the ordinary. It's not fantasy. It's your activation. This message didn't find you by accident. It crossed your path because a part of you, maybe the deepest part, is finally ready. Ready to remember. Ready to awaken. Ready to reclaim your identity. Perhaps you are one of the 144,000, not as religious dogma has described, but as the eternal memory of the soul understands it. And if these words stir something within you, if your chest tightens, if your heart responds before your mind can explain why, then do this now. Comment the number 99 below. It is the sacred number of spiritual awakening and completion. When you type it, you're not just participating. You are declaring to the universe, I am ready. And if this message resonates deeply, subscribe now and stay close, because this journey is just beginning. Next, we will uncover the hidden meaning of these mysterious symbols, and why the palm of your hand may hold the very secret your soul has been trying to reveal all along. What if the truth you've been seeking isn't in books, stars, or temples, but right here, in your own hand? For centuries, sages have taught that the palm is not just skin, it's a sacred map, a divine code etched into you before birth. Though often dismissed today as mere entertainment, palmistry holds deep wisdom for those who know where to look. And among all the lines and patterns, two marks appear again and again in those who feel a quiet pull in their soul: the crescent moon and the letter M. The crescent is a subtle curve, usually beneath the fingers. At first glance, it seems unimportant, until one day it stirs something within. A faint memory, a sense of returning. Across spiritual traditions, the crescent has always symbolized rebirth, intuition, and the soul's hidden wisdom. It marks a turning point, when you stop merely surviving and begin remembering. Those who carry it often feel life more deeply, sense energies before words are spoken, and carry wounds from lifetimes past. It's not just about healing, it's about awakening. And then there's the M, common in form, but powerful in meaning when seen through the eyes of the soul. Formed where the heart, head, and lifelines meet, it's said to represent intelligence and destiny. But deeper still, it's a symbol of ancient memory, a sign of the old soul, the one who has lived many lives and returned with purpose. It's not a symbol of status, but a seal of service, a reminder of a promise once made. So look closely at your hand. If the crescent or the M is there, they're not random, they're messages, and they've been waiting for you to remember. Then, what does it mean to be one of the 144,000? Why do so many awakened souls feel magnetically drawn to this number, as if remembering a name long forgotten? In a book, a verse, a dream, or maybe flashing across your screen, and felt something unexplainable stir inside your chest, as if without knowing why your spirit leaned in, as if that number didn't just mean something, but remembered something. This number is not just mathematics. It is a frequency, a vibration that echoes through ancient scriptures, sacred texts, and now, through the collective awakening that is unfolding around the globe. In the book of Revelation, the 144,000 are described as a sealed group, chosen from the 12 tribes of Israel during a time of great tribulation. But even within religious traditions, the meaning of this number has never been fixed. Some take it literally, a set number of souls preserved for the end times. Others see it symbolically, representing divine structure, wholeness, and spiritual harmony. But in the realm of soul memory, this number means something far more personal. Today, among awakened beings, spiritual seekers, and ancient souls who are starting to remember who they are, the 144,000 have taken on a new meaning. They are not bound by religion. They are not defined by bloodline or status or merit. They are volunteers, souls who once chose, long before this lifetime, to descend, to forget, to walk among humanity in its darkest hour, not to preach, not to conquer, but to embody the light. They didn't come to speak loudly. They came to be, to radiate, to walk through the chaos with compassion, to heal by presence alone. This is not fantasy. It is a soul agreement, a sacred covenant made before time. These beings chose to incarnate into density, into pain, confusion, limitation, and loss. They knew it would be difficult. They knew the veil would be heavy. Because part of the mission was this: they would forget who they were. That forgetting is what many call the veil of amnesia, when the soul, stepping into human form, loses memory of its origin. Its light becomes buried under layers of fear, trauma, ego, and survival. But even so, the pact was made. And the promise was this: at the appointed time, the veil would begin to lift. The soul would begin to stir. And one by one, they would, remember, some awaken through suffering, others through signs, repeating numbers, strange dreams, chance encounters that feel like destiny. Sometimes it's a line on your palm. Sometimes it's a moment like this. And that moment is now. From ancient tablets to indigenous prophecies, from Eastern sutras to modern revelations, many teachings point to this era, right now, as the moment of planetary transformation. And within this unfolding, the 144,000 are seen as the first wave, not superior, not flawless, not chosen above others, but awakened first, so that others could awaken too. That is the secret. Their light is not meant to shine above others. It is meant to ignite others. They walk among us as artists, healers, rebels, poets, teachers, wanderers, often unseen, often unrecognized. But when you meet one, something shifts. Perhaps that's why your life has always felt heavier than most. Why joy has often come with a shadow. Why you've endured pain you could never fully explain. Why nothing superficial has ever satisfied your soul. Because your soul has been carrying a code, and that code is now activating. The year 2025 is not just a date. It is a threshold, a collective turning point. And many believe it will trigger an unprecedented wave of remembrance, as if something in the human spirit has been waiting for this very frequency to arrive. So if you've been seeing 144 or 144,000, if the number haunts you gently, like a dream you almost remember, if your being trembles even now as you hear these words, you are not alone. The prophecy is unfolding, the guardians of light are waking, and they are not here to conquer. They are here to feel, to hold, to remember, and to lead, not with fear, but with light. But how can you tell if your own soul has begun to awaken? How do you know when the shift is no longer just a feeling, but a living, breathing reality? In the next part of this journey, we'll uncover 5 sacred signs that your soul has already begun its return, that your gifts are no longer sleeping, and that your mission is already underway. Not all awakenings come like thunder. Many arrive like whispers, a quiet discomfort, a shift in the way you see the world, a feeling that what once made sense no longer does. Most imagine spiritual awakening as something dramatic, a vision, a voice, a divine explosion of clarity. But for those who walk the path of the 144,000, the awakening is often gentler and far more profound. It begins as a subtle unraveling. You begin to feel like the life you've built no longer fits, like you're wearing someone else's clothes, repeating someone else's lines. And somewhere deep inside, something begins to stir, something ancient, something familiar. This is not random. This is activation, and it doesn't come from outside. It begins within. If you are experiencing any of these 5 signs, know this: your soul has already begun to awaken. Intuition becomes a voice, not a whisper. What used to be a gut feeling suddenly becomes a conversation. You think of someone, and they call. You feel a shift coming, and it unfolds exactly as you sensed. Your dreams become vivid, symbolic, even prophetic. This is not fantasy. It is your higher self stepping forward, reclaiming its seat at the center of your awareness. A deep hunger for purpose. It's not that your life is bad. It's that it feels hollow. You go through the motions, the job, the routine, the small talk, but none of it touches you. Something inside you wants more, not more success, more meaning. You begin to crave alignment. The urge to live your purpose becomes louder than the fear of change. Dormant gifts begin to awaken. You feel drawn to things you once ignored: healing, art, writing, intuition. Your empathy intensifies. You walk into a room and feel everything: joy, tension, sorrow, as if it were your own. Your words carry weight. Your presence brings peace. These aren't new talents. They're ancient ones, breaking through the surface of your awareness, remembering themselves through you. Sensitivity becomes a superpower. Suddenly, you can no longer tolerate violence, loud noise, or chaos. Negative conversations leave you drained. You crave nature, silence, truth. What once felt normal now feels toxic. But this is not weakness. It's refinement. Your energy is recalibrating, making space for more light and less distortion. Life begins to strip away what no longer belongs. Things fall apart. Jobs end. Relationships dissolve. Identities you clung to begin to slip through your fingers. It may feel like loss, but it's actually liberation. Fire doesn't only destroy, it purifies. And every ending is preparing you for the return of something truer, something deeper. If even one of these signs speaks to you, don't ignore it. That is your soul knocking, and every time you answer, the door opens a little wider. This is not about becoming something new. It's about remembering what was always there, buried beneath noise, fear, and forgetting. If you feel this within you, write it now, in the comments or in your own quiet space. It's happening to me, because you're not alone. Thousands around the world are waking up, and your voice, your light, may be the very spark someone else is waiting for. But here's the deeper truth. These signs are not random. They are not isolated events. They are part of a larger design, a network of souls activating together. And in the next part of our journey, we'll uncover how your awakening is not just personal. It's connected to something far greater. A sacred grid of energy designed long before you arrived, a living web, and you are one of its key points. What if your awakening was never just about you? What if every layer you've shed, every wound you've healed, every vibration you've raised wasn't isolated, but echoed outward like ripples across a still lake? What if your transformation wasn't only personal, but essential to a greater, invisible design? There is a truth that lives quietly behind the veil. You are part of a sacred grid, a vast network of souls strategically placed across the earth like stars in a cosmic constellation. Not random, not accidental. Each soul, a point of light. Each life, a node in a living map. Each awakening, a signal that illuminates the field around it. This is not spiritual poetry. This is the deeper architecture of your incarnation. The 144,000 were never meant to act alone. They were scattered across nations, cultures, languages, and paths of life for a reason, not to be noticed, but to be ready. They are keys, placed in precise locations, calibrated to activate at specific moments. And when one lights up, others begin to stir, because awakening is contagious, not through force, but through resonance. You've felt it before, haven't you? You meet someone, and without knowing why, your chest expands. You hear words that feel less like new information and more like forgotten truth. You speak something aloud that surprises you with its depth, and realize you've believed it your entire life. These moments are not coincidence. They are activations. Just as you were activated, Gently, powerfully, in your own way, you will now activate others, not by preaching, not by trying, simply by being who you are. The sacred grid is a living field of frequency. It functions like tuning forks. When one vibrates in truth, the next begins to vibrate in harmony, and so it spreads. You don't need a platform, a title, or a spotlight. You only need coherence. Each time you choose honesty over illusion, peace over chaos, healing over hiding, you shift the energetic structure of your surroundings. Your personal liberation becomes a collective invitation. This is how the new earth emerges, not through grand revolutions or dramatic events, but through the subtle, unstoppable ripple of souls awakening. The 144,000 were not sent to dominate, control, or convert. They came to embody truth, to walk so fully in their light that others remember their own. Perhaps this explains the loneliness you've carried, because before activation, many grid points feel like isolated stars, bright but alone, waiting for the others to awaken too. But you were never truly alone. You were only early. And now, they are waking up. That's why the world feels different, why your old life no longer fits, why you've been sensing a quiet call you can't ignore. Because the grid is coming alive, and you, whether you realize it or not, are a vital part of it. But what happens when these scattered lights begin to recognize each other? When the stars form constellations again, not in the sky, but here, on Earth? In the next chapter, we'll explore that sacred reunion, how awakened souls find one another, and why the longing in your heart may be guiding you to those you were always meant to walk beside. There is a silence inside you that few can hear. It's not the absence of sound. It's the presence of depth. It's the part of you that sees too clearly, feels too deeply, loves too fiercely, and suffers in places no one else seems to notice. For so long, you've carried that silence like a secret, not because you wanted to, but because those around you didn't speak its language. You tried. You tried to shrink, to blend in, to be normal. You lowered your voice. You dimmed your light. But every time you did, something inside you whispered, "This isn't who I am." That whisper never left you, because you were never meant to walk the path of awakening alone. Yes, many begin in solitude. It is part of the preparation, the refinement. But the soul, no matter how strong, was never designed to heal in isolation. You belong to a tribe, not one you find with your eyes, but one your spirit recognizes. They are the ones whose presence makes you breathe easier, whose words resonate without effort, whose eyes see straight through you and still stay. They may not share your blood. They may not speak your native tongue, but when you meet them, something in you unlocks, and the ache of loneliness begins to dissolve. This tribe is not built on similarities. It is bound by frequency. It is made of those who have been broken, and instead of closing, chose to open. Those who turned pain into wisdom, silence into song, endings into prayers. And here's the beautiful truth. You don't need to search for them. You only need to become fully who you are. The more you align with your essence, the more they will find you, because that's how soul tribes work. They don't meet by planning. They meet by resonance. One message at just the right moment. One stranger's comment that feels like home. One glance, one word, one feeling, and you remember, I am not alone anymore. You will recognize them not by what they say, but by how they make you feel safe, seen, sacred, and perhaps you are meant to be that mirror for someone else. Because your scars, your story, your journey might be the exact light someone else is searching for in their darkness. When scattered sparks remember they are one flame, something extraordinary happens. Not just belonging, but power. A quiet, grounded power that heals, that realigns, that restores. But before the tribe gathers, Each soul must first say yes to their own path, and the most sacred question remains: will you embrace who you are, fully, openly, truthfully, even if no one around you understands yet? Because when you do, you become the lighthouse, not to guide everyone, but to show the way for those who are already beginning to see. And now, as this journey approaches its final revelation, we return to the beginning, to the reason you came, and the truth your soul has always carried beneath the surface, chosen one. Long before your first breath, before the weight of the world pressed down on your shoulders, before anyone told you who you should be, your soul had already chosen this path. You looked at the earth and saw what was coming. You saw the darkness gathering. You felt the numbness spreading through the human heart. You witnessed the structures rising, not in truth, but in fear. And still, you said yes. You said yes to forgetting so you could remember. Yes to pain, so you could one day guide others through it. Yes to being misunderstood, so that your very presence would speak louder than words ever could. You didn't need to be convinced. The light within you was already enough. And now, after all you've endured, all you've lost, all you've questioned, the remembrance begins. Can you feel it? That subtle ache in your chest, the gentle shaking in your foundation, the sense that your old life is crumbling, not to punish you, but to reveal something more true underneath. That is your mission awakening, not as an idea, but as a living frequency. It doesn't roar, it hums. It rises not in noise, but in stillness. It reveals itself in the quiet moments when you realize, I can't be who I was. I was never meant to stay asleep. I remember. You don't need to know the full plan. You don't need to be certain of your next step. You only need to stop pretending you are not who you are, because who you are, beneath the survival, the stories, the silence, is exactly what the world is waiting for. You are not here to fix everything. You are not here to prove anything. You are here to live with such truth, such coherence, such depth, that others feel permission to do the same just by standing near you. This is the quiet power of the 144,000. Not chosen to dominate, but chosen to hold, chosen to feel, chosen to remember. Yes, the path will still have weight. Yes, you will still question, still tremble, still wonder if you're doing it right. But hear this now, and let it anchor deep within you. Every time you choose presence over escape, truth over comfort, softness over hardness, alignment over approval, you are fulfilling your mission, not through perfection, through authenticity. You carry a frequency that cannot be replicated, and the more you live it, the more the old world dissolves in your wake. You may never be celebrated for it. You may never be understood, but you were not sent here to be understood. You were sent to remember, and in doing so, remind the world what it means to be whole again. So now, pause. Let the weight of these words settle into the quiet spaces of your soul. Not as pressure, but as permission. You are no longer becoming. You are arriving. You are not awakening in theory. You are awakening in embodiment. And this is just the beginning. The mission doesn't start when everything is perfect. It starts now, in your next breath, your next truth, your next moment of alignment. You are not late. You are not lost. You are right on time. You are the prayer someone hasn't yet found words for. You are the light in someone else's storm. You are the proof that a new world is not just possible. It's already unfolding, one awakened soul at a time. And if you felt these words move something inside you, if this message echoed in places even you forgot how to access, subscribe now and stay close, because your path is no longer a solitary one. And what comes next will only deepen what has already begun. Let your life become the message your soul has waited lifetimes to deliver.